You know about Startup Grind. Startup Grind is the largest community. You also run a very large community for startups in emerging markets that I saw. I'm really excited to have you over on our Fireside chat this week. Since we're revamping or restarting our events, I wanted the first one to be you, plus you were leaving, so on a short notice.
Nice.
So, Adrian, you've been here for a while. There's a lot of people here who have wanted to connect with you. You've been going to almost everyone and connecting. You even told me that you were at Amreli Steel, and then I was asking that, are you buying steel? And you said almost. So,
Almost.
What was that about? So, why are you connecting with everyone in Pakistan? What's happening?
Well, why? Because that's what I do for a living, right? So I meet the most interesting people I can possibly meet. To give you an example, when I was in New York City, I met Bill Gates and I was at Bill Gates' event and I was not invited. The reason is I got to know somebody who invited me and I was like next to Bill Gates and Macron was there, Emmanuel Macron, like the high level people in New York, I was there. So I met also, co-founder of Alibaba. So I just, I'm always about meeting interesting people, right? And why? Because number one, if you connect with them, you can basically build partnerships. 2, get to learn about, what they're thinking about. 3, understand in terms of tech and innovation, what are they thinking about? Where they think tech and innovation is going. And 4, build a network, meaning if I can meet somebody who I can make a connection with, I do it immediately. Right?
So you talk about that you can develop partnerships,
yes.
But if you just connect and you don't have a product of yourself, what are you partnering for? And is that what community building is?
Well, there's community and there's like the connecting, right?
Yeah.
So it could be separate, but it's together. So community is like a group of people with the same goals and mission, right? And then connecting is more like people who connect don't always have a community per se, but there's also community builders who do connections, right? So it's kind of separate, but could be linked, right? Depends on the goal, right? So if you're thinking about community building, it's one activity, and then you think about connecting people, it's like a different activity, right? So it really depends on the goal.
Awesome. So you said that you came to Pakistan because to connect, this is what you do, but why specifically Pakistan, and what motivated you to stay here instead of 3 weeks, and you've been here for 4 months now?
Yes. So the reason is because, I go to a new country market and then start meeting these people and then see what kind of interest, traction, activity I get. So then from there, I just kind of make an assessment. If I stay here, what's the impact I can create versus going somewhere? Just to give you an example, I was doing events in New York City and SF, right? And then I went to Thailand, and then I was in Myanmar, and then I had the chance to do an event in Singapore, right? So I was like, should I go back to New York City and do another event in New York versus try and do an event in Singapore?
Yeah.
Right? So I basically thought, okay, I'll do the Singapore event, and if that goes well, I'll stay longer in Asia and start trying to push an event in Tokyo or Shanghai, right? So that's what an event in Singapore, we had like 50 people, and I've never built like connections in Singapore, and I managed to invite 3 or 4 VCs there and like tech startups, and I was telling them, I want to build bridges between you guys, LATAM and US, right? And they were like, that's awesome. So people were excited about the idea, right? So I started getting traction, and then in Pakistan, I got 20, 50x traction that I was expecting. I was doing these interviews and everybody was saying yes, 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 yes. And everybody just loved the interviews I was doing and like inviting me to all the interviews and podcasts. And I was like, wow, it's like, I'm a celebrity here. I was not intending to be a celebrity here. It's like, and also, I don't know. So that's what happened, right? Out of nowhere, I was invited to all these meetings, and all of a sudden I'm just hanging out with the rich people in Pakistan. I was like, how did that happen? It was like
magic.
That's totally unexpected, I was not planning for it, right? I was just planning here, have some meetings and see if there can some partnerships be built, And then I was like, okay, I'm done. I go to India and have meetings in Delhi, have meetings in Bangalore, maybe go to Kathmandu and stuff. And so it's unexpected.
Awesome.
Totally.
So, what kind of potential do you see in Pakistan for companies abroad, for individuals abroad, for even travelers or community builders that are VCs? Because you connect with all of these. You roam around people who either do business or doing something for the community.
Yeah.
What would you recommend them, and what kind of potential do you see in Pakistan for them?
Specifically for
People doing business.
Okay, so it really depends on the types of people, right? So who are thinking about Pakistan. So Pakistan is like...
If someone isn't thinking of Pakistan, that's what I'm saying. If someone isn't thinking of Pakistan, it's not on their radar.
Right. So I think there's a lot of companies out there, or even teams, who are trying to find a place for which they can find a lot of talent at a good price and English speaking and a fast connection, of internet fast connection. Those factors, believe it or not, is not easy to find. Fast internet, English speaking population, and dense enough to tap in. And I'm telling you, because I've been in every single country in Southeast Asia, East Asia, and the world, and it's not easy to find like a big English speaking population with a fast Wi-Fi, and it's dense enough to basically even have a team, right? At a good cost. So yeah,
go ahead, sorry.
So that alone is a good starting point, you know? You already have the fast internet, you have a lot of young people. Sure, in terms of talent, it needs to be polished, right? And that's where the work comes in. So if a company or a team wants to establish here, you can have access to a lot of people, but obviously they need polish, right? And that's where companies also need to consider on investing in the talent pool they can create here, right? So, but you already have the connection, like it's very easy to connect people here, you're a foreigner, right? So that's a plus, and it's way easier than Southeast Asia. I was there 5 years, Southeast Asia, and it took me like, what I did here in 4 months, it took me there a year and a half, right? And you talk East Asia or China, it's even harder, right? So,
but us as Pakistanis, it's very hard to believe that we're actually a very competitive market. Because we think, we're just like anyone else. We're like Laos, or we're like Vietnam, or we're like Malaysia. But what kind of, how would you motivate even a Pakistani to actually pitch to people abroad, even in the network, to come to Pakistan and expand here? Because there's Safir Bhai here who runs a Pakistani business. He imports stuff, but he is not really connecting to he's not connecting to enough international businesses to actually come to Pakistan, and he can facilitate them. There's Lare who works in HR. She's connected to a lot of people. She works in the software industry, but she's not connecting to companies abroad to actually show them the potential. What do you think is missing, or how do you think we can actually motivate these people who already are leaders in their industries, who already have a network, and they can do more?
So I met, Yehan just a couple of days ago. She's very smart. She knows perfectly what's going on here, right? And she said one of the main pain points of Pakistan is, number one, the PR issue, right? So you have terrible PR. And two, she said, it's also our own fault. We're not telling our story. We're not reaching out enough. We're not going outside, and this is Pakistan, this is what we're doing. You guys, for some reason, are lacking the confidence to pitch your own story.
Exactly.
To share with us what's your culture like, to share with us what is going on here. So see, it's like, it's also, obviously it's complicated story, but it's not happening enough, right? Compared to your neighbors, India, and I don't want to compare to India, but Indians are hardcore in the US, North America, talking about India, building bridges between India and the West, non-stop. But why you guys are not doing it? You have a huge diaspora, right? Obviously, in the West and in Europe. Why not Pakistan? This is the main thing. Why not Pakistan, right? So you can blame, you guys are not confident enough to actually step up to the plate and say, well, there's problems here like anywhere else in the world, but there's huge positives, right? So you guys are not doing that enough. And also the diaspora itself, the Pakistani diaspora are not engaging back with Pakistan. They still don't believe in Pakistan.
So do you really think that they're not engaging? Because even yesterday, I was at an event by Open. Open is, I don't know exactly the full form of it, but it's like Overseas Pakistani Entrepreneurial Network. So they're based out of, I think, 6 cities in the US, Boston, New York, SF, Houston. And then they are also in Pakistan and connected in all cities. They're doing their roadshow, they're trying to connect, but it's still something is missing, that they're not tapping into the actual potential.
Yes.
They're just focusing on a specific niche.
Because they don't believe in Pakistan, right? I think there's the lack of belief in terms of Pakistan can do great things. They feel, in a way, it's kind of a lost cause.
Yeah.
And they care about Pakistan because of their families and their cousins and the culture and desi food and all this stuff, you know?
Food.
Right. It's like, but there's much more than food here, right? There's human beings living here with great potential to do stuff, right? So that's the bottom line, right? So you can't give up on your young people. You can't, right? This is my pitch. If Pakistan does well, we all do well, right? You can't let Pakistan implode, you know? It's the 5th largest country in the world, so it matters. Pakistan matters. It's huge, right? So that's it.
Okay. So you're here. What are you trying to get from Pakistan?
Again, so I think there's a gap. Tell the story, the Pakistani story. And me as Gora, I have an opening, right? Because if I say it as Gora to other Americans, no, actually, think about, because I get from both. I mean, I'm not local. I can. मेरा नाम Adrian है. मैं अमेरिका से हूँ. मैं टोपी बहुत उर्दू जानता हूँ, right?
थोड़ी.
मैं थोड़ी बहुत उर्दू जानता हूँ, right? So obviously, but I try to dig into the culture here, the language, right, and understand from a Western, even like foreigner perspective. See, okay, this is Pakistan. Yeah, there's a lot of rough around the edges, but there's a lot of potential in this area, right? So I just come from a foreigner. I came here, like I said, without any connection with Pakistan. Nobody invited me. It's not like, okay, come here. I mean, yeah, I had connections. Yeah, I went to NCI and stuff.
NIC.
Yes, but NIC. But there was nobody saying, oh yeah, please come, here's the ticket. No, I had to pay for my own ticket, right? So
I mean, you didn't reach out properly, you know?
Right.
Startup grind.
Yes. So I came here really from a blank perspective, so to speak. I don't have connections, nothing. I was like, hey, let's explore Pakistan, see what the opportunities are, the problems, and so on. So from that perspective, I'm being very unbiased, right?
Yeah.
Because nobody's paying me to pitch Pakistan, right? I'm pitching it from, yeah, you guys are having these problems, but definitely what I tell my Western counterparts, you can do so much more here versus in a lot of countries in Asia in faster time. Sure, there's a lot of polishing to do, but you can achieve much more here than what you can do in Bali or in Thailand or in Vietnam even, or in China at the same time frame. And that's the good news. They're not looking at Pakistan. So I'm basically taking over in terms of connecting with everybody, making those connections happen. And whilst they think, okay, Pakistan, they're going to kill me once I get there, right? So,
well, you get the first move.
First mover
advantage,
foreigner advantage, yes,
foreigner
which
advantage.
is definitely a good one, you know.
Yeah. And then we also have Maxine here, who is again doing the same thing, and we're so thankful that she's doing and working for the masses in Pakistan also.
That's cool.
So you traveled all around Pakistan, 4 months, went to all the better co-working spaces, met all the tech gurus, a lot of
tech gurus.
The ones we have,
right?
And a lot of industries. Yeah. What kind of lacking do you see in Pakistani startups that they had a very good hype when they got investments, but like after that, we don't see them, either it's in like they have bad PR or something, but why do we see them failing? Why do you see them failing? What do you see that they're lacking?
Well, I think it's, number one is so there's a team of people start something, right? Start an idea, start getting traction. But then from that to getting VC money or institutional money, it's a long way, right?
Yeah.
So there's no intermediate money between, early stage team and a global, not even a global, even a local VC, right? So there's still like a gap there. So all you got is friends and family money there, right? Or whoever else can give you money. So there's no angel network here to support even seed stage or pre-seed stage sort of teams with, gaining early traction. That's lacking, right? More early stage money because there's no belief, right, that anybody can build something. So they're not going to give the money just like that, right? Mm-hmm. Especially if it's just 3 or 4 or 5 kids working on some idea or in some next ChatGPT, whatever. So that's lacking. And number 2 is just the talent, right? Meaning there's a lot of potential raw talent, but
Yeah.
fewer people that have like a product insight, meaning that can build a product and actually scale. You know, that would require a lot of experiments, right? And for you to run a lot of experiments, you need money, right? So it's chicken and egg cycle. It's everywhere, right? But in wealthy countries, obviously, you got credit cards, you got personal loans that you can finance it, right? But in emerging markets, the liquidity is not there to support those experiments, especially early stage, right? There's no grants. In the West, you got even government grants, and you'll have all this money floating around, right? In Pakistan, a lot less for early stage teams, you know? So that's what's lacking big time. You know, the more early stage money and being deployed and the skills, right? Those are the massive ones to really sort of scale up the ecosystem.
Definitely. So I'm kind of out of questions, but the last question I had,
you can answer.
We're gonna take. I need questions from you, but
they have a lot of
the
questions.
last one I want to ask was like, what is your advice for not the younger founders, but the developed founders or people who are really are at good work and then do want to start a business? What do you?
But they're working and they want to start a business?
Or whatever. But like to succeed, to do better in their industries, what would you suggest to them? With either it's learning or it's connections or networking, what is it that you see lacking and then they can improve to make better PR in Pakistan, better business relations within Pakistan? Because even you went to Islamabad, you went to Lahore, you in Karachi, even locally, domestically, we're so disconnected. We're not connecting to even the whole other cities that it's very hard to expand within Pakistan, let alone globally.
Yeah, it's just, again, goes back to even like middle stage founders and they focus on Pakistan. You're sure it's a big market here and everything else, but it's hard to monetize at the same time, right? Because you're talking GDP per capita of like, it's 3,000 per year.
Oh no, it's less.
Yes,
like,
it's
I think
1,000
now.
Yeah, 1,000 per 100 GDP per capita, right? So it's even lower than Bangladesh and India.
Oh
so
yeah, now.
So monetizing the user bases here is tough, right? So that's a problem, right? To scale as a company here. So you need to tap either the developing middle class, which has more potential income, but now through the inflation problem and the risk of financial environment, the middle class it's a tough environment for them to even like have this dispensable income, you know, for whatever else. So it's tough to basically monetize tech in Pakistan at scale, you know?
Yeah.
Even by Kia, it's having a rough time, you know?
100%.
So they even need to scale harder in terms of their user base. So challenge is monetization, even for companies that are growing here, right? Obviously. And then the question is, do you diversify your user base into other markets, not just Pakistan, right? And I feel the founders here are not thinking hard enough about that in terms of which other markets can I potentially create an experiment and start see if I can gain early traction. I think that mindset is not there yet here. Pakistanis think, okay, US and there, but what works here, it's not you're just gonna change it, it's gonna work in Bay Area. No, of course not. It's just totally different market.
And same thing goes for foreign companies going into Pakistan.
Exactly. So it's in terms of scaling, thinking globally, it's a tough question, you know, because where can you scale? You can scale in Pakistan, but then some companies might not survive just scaling in Pakistan in terms of like revenue, right? So the question is, which other market can you potentially tap that can give you a solid user base to scale up revenue and survive and keep growing, right? So that's even the bigger question, and not enough people are thinking about it hard enough yet. And I feel in other regions, in Asia, Southeast Asia, those guys Chinese are thinking hard in terms, and people in Bay Area for sure. Not all of them, but still some small group in North America are thinking, okay, we have this here, where else can it scale big? And they're thinking hard about it, right? I think that mindset is not quite here yet at all.
Awesome.
Yes.
I think now I can
The
give
questions?
mics.
Yeah.
I am out of questions, but
Oh, now you have a lot of questions?
no, I'm out of questions.
You're out of questions, yeah.
Because I've already done a podcast with you. So anyone
Yes,
who wants
exactly.
to know more about Adrian, they can go on my podcast.
Yes, that's true.
I need
Yeah, most questions that I have, whatever.
the funding that exists early traction, right? You've got the VCs and then you've got bootstrappers, so there's nothing in between.
Yeah.
And yet there's tons of wealth in this country captured in the 1%.
Yep.
1% are typically investing in traditional assets, which are real estate.
Yeah.
How do you get the 1% together
Yeah.
and say, do you want to mobilize Pakistan? If so, you need to invest. Oh, did you just hold it? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, is there a way to tap that and get them together and talking? Because in my province, they implemented this policy that said, if you invest in a startup, the government will write you a check for up to 75% of that investment back, because in Vancouver, everyone only invests in real estate.
Yeah.
But then they saw when they invested in startups, how much benefit that unlocked for the province.
Yes.
So the province is like, okay, how do we get people away from real estate?
Yeah.
Is there an opportunity to do that here? Because there is so much wealth, but it's in very few hands.
Yeah.
How do you get those people? Do you have any thoughts about getting them to be the investors and making an angel network here?
Yeah. Well,
There's no pitch nights here.
Yes.
Where do you go pitch your idea? It's very hard to actually come here as a startup and be like, I'm interested in doing some things, but I don't know how to ask for money here.
Yeah, there's not, see, for example, just to give you so I've been meeting this like Amreli and like these people, like Amreli is the biggest steel company here and they have a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And for example, they're thinking about, they're being hit by like electricity cost, right? And the grid and oil prices and Ukraine war. Now electricity went up by 100% in the last year and a half, right? So their production costs went up big time. So they realized, okay, if we don't invest in tech and innovation now, we'll be dead soon. Or another company who's investing in a lot of innovation is going to disrupt us. And I told them, guys, if you don't move fast, you're going to die because you're a big company, right? And then you'll be disrupted by faster technology, cheaper, better, more efficient. You will be disrupted, right? So the problem is they understand there's a need for innovation and they need to do it fast, sustainably. They understand the leapfrogging effect, and maybe they understand they won't be able to do it themselves. So the question is, you need at least few people enough buying kind of mindset that they're not going to be able to do them themselves. They need to partner, and either partnership is like start building those prototypes from within the corporate or meaning the teams and the startups, right? And they basically use their whatever they built and prototype it inside, right? So yeah, that space is not there. Does not exist in Pakistan. Okay, few players, Catalyst Labs are, and I see, there's some work there, but there's no the linking. There's no link in Pakistan. It's very siloed still. Everything is just happening on their own. Yeah, tons of money here, startups here, and academia here. It's like, but where's this other layer? No, they're not there yet.
Yeah, I agree.
Not there at all. Yes, so
someone has to move forward. Like if I was that steel company, I would immediately go develop a relationship with Nest and be like, can you put 10 students on this problem right now? We'll fund it.
Yes.
Yeah. So why aren't they doing that?
Huh?
Why isn't that happening?
Because they're working on other problems, on survival. This is the thing, right? Pakistan is being in survival mode for years and years and years and years. So it's like, they're thinking about just sustaining, surviving just for such a long time, right? And they don't have any slack to just sit down and, okay, what else can we think about? There's programs, but they're still not quite there yet, right? India, they've been doing it. They're just, even Tata, for example, Tata Group, it's like you go into a website, it's like, wow, those guys are really on steel and manufacturing, robots, cars. They're just covering the whole thing, plus sustainable development, zero net emissions. North America is like, it's crazy. So it's like, even like from the private sector, there's pushing to build bridges in all sectors, right? And then get other players involved and get the government involved and get NGOs involved, So there's no Tata Group in Pakistan, at that level that is bringing the whole private industry together, creating potential partnerships with the public sector plus international players, right? It's not there.
Agreed.
So that's why going back to the question, why Pakistan? It's like you come here, it's like, wow, you guys haven't thought of, you haven't worked on this. It's like your dad is like, dude, so many things are broken here. So many things need to be fixed here.
Which it should attract them. To me, entrepreneurs love to solve problems. It should attract all the greatest minds to be like, there's so much to work on here.
Yeah, exactly, right.
It's so exciting actually to be here as an entrepreneur because it feels like you're almost coming from the future, come back and be like, listen, there's like a few things that we need to do here to unlock massive gains.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe that's how Pakistan should start to market and PR itself. There are the greatest problems to solve here, and with a little bit of like integration, my goodness.
Yes.
So attract the best minds to come work on those problems because this country receives you so well. Like you felt, like I felt that too. I stayed here longer because I'm like, whoa. Whoa. So much help. So why wouldn't all entrepreneurs and startup founders want to come here? But the funding the monetization needs to be there as well. The companies need to step up. The 1% needs to step up to support it, and people will come solve the problems, I think. Yeah, I think you tapped it. Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, but I think what we talked about, the confidence, right? Pakistanis, they still, I mean, except the diaspora, they're much more confident. They lack that confidence, and it's just not here. It's like an emerging market problem, It's like, for example, in the US, North America, the VCs are like, dude, Asians suck at pitching. And they were like Asians, like starting from Turkey all the way down, even like Europe, It's like, you guys don't know how to pitch. We need to teach you how to pitch because you guys don't know how to tell a story. You guys don't know how to push like, okay, this is our unique value proposition. This is how we're going to solve this.
So true.
They come very like, okay, so I'm nice to be here, la la la. For a US investor, you would never get money like that, right? You really need to be like on with US investors, right? So that kind of thing, chuspa, it's like
that should be a class. You're 100% right. And I think that's why PR problem exists because people don't know how to sell their story. And so they don't know how to talk about their story and then nobody hears their story. So where is the pitch class being embedded? I did an accelerator in the US and we spent 4 months just pitching, just telling our story, just getting our deck down, just communicating our value proposition. That's it. Because they knew if we had that, we could do whatever. Yeah. That does.
But imagine if more Pakistanis even tell this story about their culture, and then become viral. Any story. Then we will hear, wow, this Pakistani group, we will hear about you guys, and it's like, hey, now we're curious, But we never hear that. We just hear TPP and the bombings, and
that's it.
What did you hear about? What did you know about Pakistan?
Danger.
Danger.
That's all I knew.
Danger.
Nonetheless, I'm gonna live here. Right? But there's so much more. There should be a movement. How do we create a thing that's like tell your story? On TikTok, on Instagram, using this format. Even if we did a teleprompt and made an app and got everyone to just tell their story, that would flood the market. And
they have such rich culture here. I'm like, guys, you have such rich culture. How on earth we don't know about this, right? It's like,
agreed.
It's crazy. The dancing, you have amazing dance, amazing.
Qualities.
Yes, it's just so much you have going on here, but we don't know about it.
There's the issue of the confidence. As you can see that we all have questions to us from you, but we are not confident enough to ask. So you can see here as well.
No, I have no questions.
In general,
What is that?
there is a fear of rejection.
He's here to talk to you. What's the rejection? What's going to happen? What's the worst thing he could do? That's a terrible question.
Terrible question. Well, as you know that people suffer more in their imagination than in reality. So the same thing's happening because we do have a fear that we might ask some that low level question that this is not up to the mark. So we just avoid to ask. It is simple about the fear of rejection we have. As you can see, I am just stammering sometimes. This is just developed in me when I'm a kid because of this fear of rejection. But when I speak confidently, I'm not going to stammer. As you can see, now am I going to speak? I'm not going to stammer. So that's the thing which is not in our part of you can say in education or in the early life. So that's the one of the thing which he mentioned, that the confidence is the main problem which have to be tackled, and also the image the Pakistan has on the global side, it's very negative. So we are not very confident enough to introduce ourselves.
Yep. To introduce
Okay. To introduce ourselves in the global market, because there is a very negative image.
Yeah, they think, oh no,
Yeah,
shit like
it
that.
is just the perspective, because the perspective is another thing than the reality. As you are here, you are facing the reality, but is in the reality. We all are Pakistani, but might be we are not portrayed on the global level.
Yep.
Okay, we are friendly, we are welcoming you, and we are really treating you as a celebrity, as you mentioned, because you are. So that's why here's the confidence issues we have, but we are starting tackling it.
Yeah.
And by connecting with you, by getting the insights.
Yes. Confidence is an issue. We actually, as a society, we're just not taught all of this. And well, I've traveled my little share in about 15 countries, 15 places. So when I traveled, I realized ये जो हमारा inferiority complex, or the inferiority complex that brown people have, that we're not as superior as the white people, is just ingrained. I don't know from where, but it's ingrained. I don't know. It's just a reflex when we see a white person. It's kind of like a reflex. Oh, we just think that, okay, this person has to be smarter than all of us.
Yep.
Yes.
It's that's number one. Number two, the confidence. We're just not taught all of that. Not in school, not from parents, not in the family. And as children, we're shut out a lot. Don't do this.
Oh,
Don't do
yes,
this.
yes,
Like
yes.
on average, like a kid, and a brown kid would listen to a no 50,000 times.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah, so
it's
those two
basically a
factors.
conscious struggle to instill confidence and to let go of the fear. I'll tell you my story. Up till 2019, I could not speak. Could not speak in front of people. I could not face the camera. And he follows me on Instagram now. Please ask him what kind of stories I put. I do not give two fucks now.
What was the switch for you? What was the
Sorry?
switch? How did you switch then? Because that's a very big transformation.
Yeah, I asked you the same question. You didn't give me a concrete answer. What
Okay,
was the
so
shift?
in 2019, I kind of went through a training program. If you know Farhad Karamali, I was under training with him, Farhad Karamali. So I was in one of his training programs, and then there were 4 trainers all together, and then there was one trainer in particular. He was basically bros with me, and he was like, I was like, he was like, why aren't you on social media, by the way? As a coach, I was spread very thin back then. Like I had a niche down. And he was like, why aren't you on social media? I was like, it's such a rat race. I don't want to do it. And he's like, have you seen yourself? So he went all in. He bashed the heck out of me. He's like, have you seen yourself with that face and with the kind of work you do? Are you telling me you're not going to be on social media? So the training went on for like 4 days, and the entire 4 days he just, kind of swore to God that he's going to, kick this out of my system. And he did. And then I pushed myself in the beginning of 2020 when COVID hit. I was like, okay, I'll do this. And then I started making videos. I will not lie. My first video was, I think it had 12 retakes, and it was scripted word for word. And please ask him now, I do not give half a flying fuck now. I do not.
So
Right.
as a trainer, believe someone else
Yeah.
in you showing you.
It took a lot of conscious effort, and then appreciation goes a long way, I would say, because you're very scared to put yourself out there, even in public, in person or on social media, because it can get pretty dark, lonely, trolling. So you have these fears. But then when I started posting videos, I got a lot of love. If not for my work, then for my weirdness. So
It's come together with your authentic self.
no, I still face trolling.
Of course.
I do when I'm when it gets out of hand, I'm like, okay, whatever makes you feel okay. You're right, whatever. Have a nice day.
Once you go through it, you're like, I'm good now. You just gotta go
So,
through it.
you know, the only way the only way to overcome fear is through. You have to dive in. There's no other way.
Yeah, but it can be overcome, right? So all the Indians in the US are like,
Yeah,
top
sure.
CEOs,
Because if
right?
it's not one fear, there's always going to be another one. If it's, if my camera fear has gone by, it's definitely going to be some other fear that's going to haunt me and bite me in the ass.
But
So,
you
yeah.
went through one, so you know you can go through another one, right? And
Sure.
That's such a big transition from not talking.
So
to being-
a healthy support system, I would say, is very necessary, which we do not have. We're like strongly deprived of that as a Pakistani society. That I will add in on.
Okay, that makes sense.
and there's the whole parent thing here. That's so hardcore, meaning the fact that you can't go against your parents.
Yeah.
That's so strong. It comes up all the time. With all Pakistanis that speak, yes, it's like, oh, you can't say no to your parents if they want the best for you, right? But in our culture, it's like, cool, you want this, I want this. See you later.
That's going to be at least 100 years more for Pakistan. That's not happening anytime soon.
So over here in Pakistan, the rebellious child is actually successful.
Has to what?
Is actually successful.
He's talking about himself. He's talking about himself.
Yeah. So, I don't know about that, but actually I was the rebellious child. I used to question my grandfather. I used to question my parents. I used to question and question and question
Yes.
until and unless I got satisfaction on my question. So I got two answers from your conversation right now. Basically, the problem starts with the colonial era. Right after the partition and independence, what happened was in India, they finished feudalism and they stated that one man cannot have that much land. Like you cannot have like 100 acres of land in India. Like all the feudals were finished and everyone can have a certain amount of land, then they can own, and that's it. In Pakistan, that did not happen. So the feudalism continued till date, 75 years to date. So the colonial times, my grandfather used to live a place near Delhi. It's called Meerut. It was a Kent area, and they had a superstore with the name of Johnson & Johnson. And within that Kent area, like the British people used to live over there, and it was written, Indians and dogs are not allowed inside. And there was a certificate used to be given to Indians at that time by the British colonials that if an Indian is a feudal and has a certain amount of land, or he's a Nawab or Raja of some place, so the certificate was that whenever he will come to meet the Gora people, the British, so he will be given a seat to sit. So they would be, if he has that certificate, he can only sit, otherwise he has to sit on the floor. So what is the difference between the India, like you said, that all the CEOs are now Indians and they are actually leading the IT and tech market and not Pakistanis? What happened was that in Pakistan, that feudal lord system continued till date. And actually, the first two chief of army staff of Pakistan were actually British. So the British following in the army as well continued till date. Like you must have seen that's going very much political. I don't know whether it's allowed or not, but this is the history and that's fact that we actually follow the British Anglo-Saxon law till date in Pakistan, which was actually the law what British gave to this country. We have not improved or improvised it with the current laws and what is the need of the day. As well as that fear what he had or people have with that Gora skin is still there because they still believe that they are superior. And the laws of that time of British colonial era were made like that because they were just 50,000 British people ruling the entire India. Like Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and all of that, they were just 50,000 people.
Yes.
So basically, they used to rule in the mindset.
Yeah. Well, same happened in America.
And that has been continued
the same
till
happened in America, right? It was like a few hundred Spanish people came first.
Yeah.
And they took over the whole of Mesoamerica,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then the Brits came and they just like took over. That's it.
Yeah. So basically, we are still into that mindset. That's why we don't have confidence. And only the rebellious people do whatever they want.
So if they can rule, if 150,000 people can rule millions, cannot this same thing be applied with confidence? Cannot 50,000 people train confidence? Can we not reverse it in a positive way?
Okay, then comes what he was saying. I'm sorry, I forget your name.
Adrian.
Sorry?
Adrian.
Adrian.
Yep.
He was saying the right thing. We don't believe in Pakistan. Because we have been in the survival mode since 1948.
Yeah. It's true. It is so true.
We have seen 4 wars, 1948, 65, 71,
With India,
and
right?
99,
With
and
India.
war on terror. And
Yes.
we have seen 4 martial laws, which again is actually absolute law. You cannot question the army, and that in those times. We have not seen 75 years of democracy where you can speak, just like our neighbors India. So there's a basic difference in the culture. And the question you said, I just Googled how many billionaires do we have. So out of 10, 5 were politicians. And we are like in top 10 countries in the corruption. See, we don't produce, and what you were highlighting, that the industry is going one way. The university is producing something which the industry don't need, and the ecosystem is producing something which the industry don't accept. So there is no integration. And that is being done to divide and rule us by the establishment. So there's a problem over here. I also never thought like that before this conversation. I understood 2 things. That the colonial era thing is still there.
Yeah.
Number 1, this is
Yes.
what I understood within this conversation.
Yep.
Number 2, that there's a disconnect between the industry. That is
That's
the
huge.
actual problem of Pakistan.
That's huge.
And that disconnect is because we don't believe in Pakistan.
Yeah, but that's the opportunity, right? We come in, we just see opportunities, and either, like, it has to be done.
So-
And then the question is either you guys go for it, others will go for it,
So
because
that-
it's just like it's a marketplace.
I
Right?
have-
You can't let this country implode because it's just a ripple effect.
I have a response to this. I will share it offline because that will take the conversation towards the political side, which I don't want to go. But there, for the first time, actually you identified the real problem. And that's why everyone is doing something of their own, but they're not cooperating within themselves. Like there might be companies in Pakistan who will be collaborating with someone in US, and they might be growing like 2x, 4x, 5x,
Yeah.
but we won't be collaborating between us. And the potential is here.
There's a science park in Haripur.
Okay.
Where you're never gonna go.
Okay.
And that's collaborated with a health tech incubator in Austria, and they're funding it. And a lot of kids are coming out of that, but we never know about it.
Yes.
Similarly, you're going to an AI conference, the Karachi community doesn't know about it. So we're so disconnected within the country. We're not exploring.
Yes.
And again, through all of this conversation, I think the only take back is that we have a confidence problem and we're not talking enough.
Not at all.
And we need to talk more. We need to come on these platforms. We need to talk to all of our friends abroad and talk to their friends. That
And I
just
think
tell
your
them
dad
about
is-
Pakistan.
Your dad is doing a great job there.
But
right? There's-
one
you guys are
Rehan
doing-
isn't enough.
Like it's you guys, even he on their face. You guys, we are not doing enough noise. Like he keeps telling everyone.
Like he has
You guys are not
16,000
doing enough
videos.
noise,
Like even you guys, you should be making daily videos about, okay, what's in Pakistan? What's the food like? Because your friends, and if Taha motivated you, if someone motivated you and then you wanted to come to Pakistan, then something happened, an event triggered, and then that meant that you should come to Pakistan. We need to tell about our events to people abroad. We need to tell about what's happening here abroad.
But
Because
isn't there like a clear discrimination and divide there?
No, because-
if these people share it,
Yeah.
obviously the virality is just there. It's inevitable.
No,
When we share it,
when I say that we need to talk to our Gora friends, but we need to talk to our Gora friends. We need to talk to our, not only Gora, but I mean like people abroad. We need to talk to them and then their friends also. That's from our side. But these people also need to make daily videos.
There also needs to be a story. I
Yeah.
really like the story of like you said, there are so many problems to solve here that are very solvable. And it is very addicting for an entrepreneur to come. And because in 4 months you can do so much so fast here.
So we need to after this we're making testimonials of both of you and then I'm gonna put ads of that globally.
How are you going to solve problems?
And the interest is gonna be like
Celebrity.
only show to non-Pakistanis to pull them to Pakistan.
Yes.
And so that can be something from my side.
One story.
Yeah.
The other story is the competitive advantage, I think, with the youth. Let the world know that they can hire a youth here for 100,000 rupee for 3 months.
100%.
That will sell itself.
100%.
That's insanity.
100%.
Right? Like, I can't imagine getting someone for 3 months for $500 US to support a network. That's bananas.
Exactly.
Right? Like that's,
Insane.
it's insane, and it would just like, but you gotta gather it, and you gotta Pakistanis to come together to make that so. Here is our youth. We've gathered them, we've vetted them, we've trained them. They're ready to go for $500 US.
Yes.
Okay, that just will. You don't even have to push that much.
And then because we have a very serious problem of foreign exchange, we don't have enough dollars, we don't have enough money, and earning in Pakistan just doesn't make sense anymore. That's the only way to go.
You have any question?
But I
No.
want so she works in HR. She's only 20, and then she is earning good money. So that's not common with people who are that age. But she
Okay, go for it.
what? A high school degree. A high school degree. Okay, she's
Chai.
more educated than me.
Sugar? No.
But why do you think I just want to know why you're not pushing enough, because you're well connected in the local community, but why aren't you pushing yourself in the global community? Why aren't you?
I agree with you on confidence. Like, I don't know what to pitch them. I don't know how to approach them, and I'll say, okay, I'm looking for a new podcast in HR, which is going to resources, and it's one of the first please do an investment. That's local which I can do. I don't know how to go about it and go global on it.
There's one thing, fake it until you make it. Fake it until you make. You guys, really, you think Americans know what they're doing? No, they don't. They just pretend. It's like, I'm not sure, but here it goes. And they get feedback, oh yeah, I didn't know, okay, I'll change it. Okay, I'll change it. And then you fail completely, and it's like, it's okay, I learned something, try again. Learn something, try again. You're never gonna wake up one day saying, I got the perfect pitch, this is it. No, of course not. You're gonna try and fail, try and fail, try and fail. But the problem is failure, the failure problem, right? Failure, it's a problem in a lot of countries. It turns out, yes, in North America, failing is not such a massive deal. You can get over it. It's not like a stigma, but in other cultures, failure is like you get completely stigmatized, right? So that's a problem. The answers come by trying and failing, and you learn. You try again, you learn. You try again, you learn. That's it. It's just like a loop, right?
They say go get your 100 failures. I had the best pitch coach one time. He said, go get your first 10 no's. That's what I want you to do. And that will be a success. I was like, that is so much nicer of a thing to go get. Basically, go get your first 10 no's. Go pitch for $2 million and go get no's.
Yes.
That's your assignment. Come back when you get your first
Even
10 no's.
Elon Musk was saying, if you're not getting no's every day, you're not pushing hard enough, If you're not getting no's every day.
It's just an evolutionary process. We learn from our mistakes, and this is just the process how the evolution works.
Yeah.
It's a simple process.
Yeah.
So we have to follow that. Mistake is just a stair.
It's a good thing. Yeah.
Also, you guys have the Desi Jugar, right? Desi Jugar. Like, seriously, Desi is local, Jugar is local hack, right?
Okay.
So, these guys are very creative to fix anything on the fly with no resources, with like nothing. They can just build it and fix it, right? Right, but that's a skill. You guys are so great at it. It's like Jugar.
You're actually running the country on Jugaad, right?
Yes.
We are running the entire system on Jugaad. Every single thing over there is Jugaad.
Right.
Like, even if you
Like if a policeman stops you, ask him Jugaad, Like you have a jugaad.
Jugaad.
Solve the problem right here.
Yeah.
Don't give me a chalal. Don't give me a straight.
And then don't tell us what's
Yes,
right,
yes,
just
yes,
tell
yes,
us
What's the hack?
What's a hack? They're amazing hackers, but like he said, not enough planning.
So we only think in the moment.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
You don't think 5 years
And
abroad.
Yes.
it's fast, because you're survival. You're in survival mode. You can't.
Even if in our individual lives,
Yeah.
screw the
But I
country.
think so that these are all the problems which are fixable. These are not the things which we can't fix.
Yes.
Because
Which I-
these problems are already fixed somewhere in the world. Already, yeah. It's not the new thing which we are going to build. Like a Saudi Arabia line, which is
Yes, yes, yes.
they are building. Yeah, it's a very unique thing.
Yep.
The things we are talking, it is already being solved, so we can solve it as well.